Hi, welcome to a little instructional video about layers in Photoshop. Um, in our other video about selection, we selected an area, we made a sphere, put it over top of this background. This time around we'll take a look at using this layers palette, adding more layers to do more things. Layers are great because you can paint additional textures on this sphere, say, on a separate layer, and then you can choose to view that layer or not, and you know, kind of do the optometrist thing. Which is better, this or this? Um, like so. We've got another texture here. This was made actually from taking a whole other image and placing over top of this. You might recognize that image from my desktop background here. I kind of um, did the expedient thing and took a screenshot of that desktop background. Here it is, and I put it into grayscale since my sphere is in grayscale. To combine images together, they need to be in the same mode, be that grayscale, RGB, CMYK. For most of the semester, we'll be working in RGB, but for this sphere project, we're sticking with just grayscale. Um, so I'll show you how I did this. You can pull this image off to the side, and let's turn that layer off. In fact, let's just get rid of that layer now that you've had a chance to see it. And in my second image, what I'll do is do Command A to select all. I'll take my Move tool over here from the tool palette, take my Move tool, and just move that on over here. And by doing so, it's created an additional layer. Right away, it's created a new layer. Now, it's at full opacity, so I can't see underneath. Each layer has an opacity adjustment separate from the other layers. So I can pull way back on opacity, I can kind of move this around, and if I want it to match up, I'll need to scale it. And I can scale the imagery on each layer separately from each other layer. So I've got my layer 3 active in my layers palette, and I can go up to Edit and get Transform and Scale. And if I hold Option Shift, it will constrain from the center, and it'll constrain all the proportions. If I just hold Shift, it'll constrain the proportions and move from that corner. And that's pretty good. I'm going to let go of my mouse, and let's double click to apply this because we can always do it again. And I'll take my arrow keys on my keyboard, kind of nudge that around, and that's a pretty good guess. We can get a little bit closer, I think. So again, I've got my new layer with my new Earth image on there. I've got that selected in layers. I go up to Edit, get Transform, and Scale. And if I hold down Shift, it'll constrain the proportions. If I hold down Option Shift, it will keep my center point. So I'll hold down Option Shift, click and drag just a skosh there, and I'll let go. Double click to apply it, and I can nudge that again with my arrow keys, and that's pretty close. It's not spot on, but it's pretty close. And now I'll show you how to do a layer mask, even though this isn't something that you need to know for the sphere project. You'll need to know it soon enough. I'm going to take my Magic Wand tool with tolerance set on 0 and select this black background. That's got my background selected. I will add to it. I'll move that into the additive mode up there in my options bar. I'll add to that the rest of the transparent background. So what I've got selected is whoa, everything but Earth. Great. Now I've got to zoom back in. Pardon me. Oh yeah. And so we've got everything but Earth selected, or we did until we did the zoom tool. Let's see. There we go. So I've got that black background selected with a tolerance of 0. I will add to it the transparent background. Now I'll go up here to select, and I'll get inverse. Now I've got just that Earth selected, and I go to my layers palette. There's a little kind of a looks like an inverted Japanese flag. We'll do add layer mask. Boom. And it masks out that information. The information's still there. Still there, it's being masked out in my layer. And now I've got something that looks like this. I can go back into my layer 3 with the earth on it and move the opacity back again. And there we go. Very similar to what we saw before. I didn't get this tweaked quite as nicely. The edge is still there. But these, the image and mask are linked in layers, so I can still select this layer. I can still scale it using transform. Oops. Let's try that again. Edit, transform, scale. And I'll just go from the corner and hold the shift key down this time. We'll do one corner at a time. There we go. Not bad. And so with a little attention, you can get this just about spot on. Layers will do some more things for you too. In between your background and your sphere, you can add a layer, and I'm going to airbrush a shadow in there. So here's a brush, and we'll just airbrush a shadow like so. Now the opacity is set low on my brush. We'll do a whole other video on brushes. But now I've got a background layer, a shadow layer, a texture layer, all separate, and that original sphere that I drew is still intact. So that's just a quick introduction to layers, and hope that all makes sense. Hope that's enjoyable for you.